For performing outstanding public service to their schools and communities. The awards are sponsored locally by WCSH-TV, and plaques were given out to the winners this afternoon by Fred Thompson, president of the Maine Broadcasting System. Recipients of the awards were Michael Berube of Lewiston, Kevin Lapham of Freeport, and the 6 members of the Scarborough Student Rescue Team. The goal of the awards program is to recognize the work of students who are providing leadership to the communities and will continue to do so in the future.
Nice idea. Good kids up there, too. We're going to meet them in just a couple of minutes.
America's future is taking shape now in students like Michael Berube, from peer tutoring to Alter, Lewiston Auburn's Drug and Alcohol Education Committee, to the Key Club.
I found that through helping others, I've been able to grow a lot. I think you can find yourself through helping other people and giving to other people.
Michael Berube, representing the qualities America needs now and in the future. Congratulations, Michael, and thanks. Math team, National Honor Society, one of 3 seniors enrolled in college credit courses at Bates. Michael Berube's academic achievements are outstanding, but they aren't the reason he was chosen to receive an America's Future Award.
Key Club motto is caring, our way of life. That's really a lot of what I believe in. I found that through helping others, I've been able to grow a lot, and that I think you can find yourself a lot through helping other people and giving to other people.
Through the Lewiston Auburn Alter Education Committee, Mike and fellow students share facts with their community about the use and abuse of drugs and alcohol.
If anyone in your family has ever been involved with it before, ever been an alcoholic, ever been chemically dependent at all, it just about triples the likelihood.
Peer counselor, student tutor, involved citizen, and outstanding example of what America's future can be. Congratulations, Michael. Math team, National Honor Society, one of 3 seniors enrolled in college credit courses at Bates. Michael Berube's academic achievements are outstanding, but they aren't the reason he was chosen to receive an America's Future Award.
Key Club motto is caring, our way of life. That's really a lot of what I believe in. I found that through helping others, I've been able to grow a lot, and that I think you can find yourself a lot through helping other people and giving to other people. Here at St. Donald's, we have one course that's part of the Religious Studies Department called Christian Involvement. What it is the class for the 1 quarter that they're in the course goes to a agency within the area. That might be a 3rd grade class like I was in at St. Peter's School, or it might be going to an old folks home, or going to a detox center here in the city, one of these many things. And we just go and we help out. We work with the people, get to know the people, offer our services for that 50 minutes every day for 1 quarter. And it gives you a good understanding, gives the kids a really good understanding of Christian involvement, being involved and freely giving of yourself without really expecting anything in return.
Through the Lewiston Auburn Alter Education Committee, Mike and fellow students share facts with their community about the use and abuse of drugs and alcohol.
If anyone in your family has ever been involved with it before, ever been an alcoholic, ever been chemically dependent at all, it just about triples the likelihood.
Peer counselor, student tutor, involved citizen, and outstanding example of what America's future can be. Well, as we've just seen, Mike Berube is involved in a tremendous number of activities. For a high school student or anybody, that's a heavy load. Mike, the first question would be, how do you work it out? How do you fit all of that into a schedule where you're trying to study and improve yourself?
It's not the easiest thing to do. It takes really a good amount of time management, something that the school is realizing a lot more, and they're starting to give kids, the freshmen, courses just on that, just on the time management. The involvement with my different activities, kind of by their own nature, have developed that within me, you know, being able to manage everything and still coming out on top.
What got you going in so many activities? Did it start when you were a freshman at St. Dom's?
It really did. A lot of it was seeing the upperclassmen when I came in as a freshman, seeing those seniors and how they were involved, and they kind of set my goals for me. I saw them and I wanted to be like them and the different activities they were involved with.
Well, let's look at one individual thing you've been heavily involved with, and that's the alcohol and drug education and some peer counseling as well. How does it work for a student-to-student relationship? Is that the kind of thing that really helps another student?
I think that it's really the ideal type of counseling relationship. When you have adult to students, the students oftentimes resist a little bit. They don't like to be told things. They don't like the authority. But when you're coming in on the same level as another student, they're a lot more open to things. They're open to suggestions, and they themselves open up to you a lot more. Also, students, compared to adults who are older, know a lot more of where that other student is at. They know what's going on and a little bit of what they're feeling at that time.
How many students are you dealing with? First of all, personally, you yourself, when you have to, you've got the tutoring that you do for how many students?
The tutoring, I tutor about 3 or 4 different students. I have several students that I tutor regularly in different courses. Then there are always fellow classmates just on an as-needed basis before big tests or exams or that type of thing, to really set up kind of open so that I can be available whenever.
And you speak to groups as part of the alcohol-drug education?
Yes. The alcohol-drug education is really just that, educating within the schools. When we started off a few years ago, we were concentrating on the upper levels, the juniors and seniors, but we soon realized that it needs to be a lot younger than that. Decisions are being made on the 7th and 8th grade level, and these kids need to be educated so that they can make a more responsible decision. We don't want to be out there making the decision for them, but we want to give them enough knowledge that they can make a good decision.
Now, St. Dominic's is not a tremendously large school by any standards. I would guess it's sort of intimate size, what, about 400?
Yeah.
400 students. That way, is that something helpful when you're trying to be involved in these things because you get to know people?
It definitely is. I've thought about it, through the past years, and I would always go back again to St. Dom's. The small size allows you to get to know all of your classmates. I can call them all by first name. And when you're in a peer counseling situation or something like that, you can relate to them a lot more. You know what they're feeling just because you know them as a person a lot more than a large school of a few thousand kids.
What do you think? Is St. Dominic's a unique atmosphere for trying to steer kids away from drugs and alcohol than, say, a public school? What would some of the differences be?
To a certain degree, they're the same, but the differences, again, are the small size. You can relate to the kids more. It's more direct. It doesn't seem like they're just a number, and here you are lecturing to all of them. It seems like you're dealing on a one-to-one level.
But are there students, a little bit different class of students? Perhaps they choose to be there. They're paying money to be there. They may be a little bit more serious students.
Exactly. They are paying the money to be there, so they are more serious, and they're going to be the ones that are going on to college. They're thinking about their futures a little bit more than maybe kids involved in a vocational or technical type of school. So they are a little bit more concerned about themselves, and I think overall they know themselves a little bit better. They're a little bit more sure of themselves, a little bit better self-esteem, and that helps out a lot when you're talking about peer counseling or alcohol and drug education. It makes them a lot more open.
Now, you're going on to school. You're graduating as valedictorian at St. Dom's. You're going on to MIT. Can you keep up the same level of involvement, you think?
I think that I want to keep up some involvement. I know that I'll be involved. I always will be just because of my nature. However, I really want to give a little more of a concentration on the academics. MIT is definitely going to be a challenge,
yeah.
And I want to be able to do a good job.
Well, good luck with it, Mike. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back with more of News Center's On the Line, the America's Future Award winners, right after this. Senior members of the Student Rescue responding to a call.
So we're required to go on actual calls, and we cover for the town during the day when most of the regular rescue members work.
The rescue has taught us to appreciate the needs of other people more. It's taught us to be more responsible.
Founded in the early 70s in order to fill a vital community need, these students' contribution, based on hundreds of hours of training, involves first-hand experience in the serious business of saving lives.
Well, it's made us all think of how vital life really is, and we're not as all immortal as we think we are.
Some of the things that we've seen, they sort of stick with you, and you can see how they could have been avoided.
The awareness for other people's needs has made us a little bit more compassionate and understanding towards life and people in general.
It really shows how life is important to us and that we should really take advantage of it, and just helping everybody just makes my day go by a little bit easier, I think.
you really get to see how patients react in certain situations, which may be to them life-threatening, and to us it's okay, and you get to sympathize with them and talk to them, and you get to know how people can react in certain situations.
When you take into account all the training and practice and going on actual calls, I'd say it's between 20 to 30 hours per week.
Beyond their rescue work, students provide CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation training, free of charge to residents.
Or other help arrives, such as a rescue.
Channel 6 is proud to recognize Richard Reed, Julie Whiting, Debbie Thompson, Karen Batura, Dawn Marie Grubbs, and Jeff Sheckley, senior members of the Scarborough Student Rescue. And here they are, just as big as life, right here in the studio. One, we should mention, an interesting achievement. Dawn Marie Grubbs, you today just passed your EMT test. Well, congratulations. We'll be getting to the phones in just a moment. I'd like to ask you to keep your questions or comments brief, because we do have a lot to go through tonight. And let me ask you folks sort of a toss-up question here at the College Bowl. What does this do to your schedule, to be on call like this all the time?
Well, when we're during school, it doesn't really interfere with our schoolwork. The teachers are really nice about letting us go out and do what we, they don't really say very much. On our own time, we're able to run 24 hours, so we can pretty much do, go when we want, when we're available. So it takes up a lot of time if you have it.
Yeah, this is not your typical extracurricular activity. It must be kind of nerve-wracking, knowing you've got a lot of responsibility for someone's life and death. Jeff?
Well, when you get on the scene and you know your skills are acquired, you just automatically act. It's like a second nature.
How long has it taken you to acquire these skills?
We've gone through several courses, I'd say over 200 hours of total training and a lot of practice.
And
you start when you're juniors? What happens, you begin training then?
Yeah, you get trained by the senior members before you, and you're able to run the last half of your junior year and get the idea of what it's like.
So now you folks are training another team that'll come along behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why don't we get to the phones? I think we've got a call waiting, and we will see what's happening. Good evening, you're on the line.
Yes, my question is, how do you first learn about this program? I mean, is there any place that you can find it or start a program?
Interesting idea. How would, if someone wanted to, is there any way they could go about starting a program like this? Anybody know?
We've had a couple of schools talk to our advisor, Bustility, and other members of the rescue about other schools being interested in. They have the resources. It's just as available as the people that want to do it.
I would guess you'd probably have to go through your local fire department, rescue team, police and fire, something like that. That is probably the best way to start, to go right through the local authorities that are already the regular rescue teams, and they could probably let you know. I know there are some logistical problems. You folks are lucky enough to be right near the fire department, so when a call comes in, you take right off. Other schools are not so near to the fire station, so that might be a problem, but it's certainly worth looking into. Thank you for your call.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, you're on the line.
Hey, I was wondering, how did these kids come about to being on the rescue unit?
How did you decide you were going to be involved in this?
Well, it's by our own choice, really. We started out by attending a meeting to learn about it, which introduced us to what kind of schedule and training we'd be going through. And
okay, thank you.
All right, thanks for calling. You can finish. Was there more to that?
Yeah, and we learned how much time it was going to take a week and how many hours we're going to have to put into it. And at the beginning, there was about 20 students, I'd say, and out of the 27 make it through the year. And quite a few dropped out once they found out how much time it was really going to take.
Knowing how much time it takes and so forth, is there any objection from your parents when you get involved in something like this, knowing that who knows when you're going to be gone? Anybody have parents that said, hey, that's kind of a problem for some of them? Was there any resistance from, let's say, the fire department or the existing rescue team? Are they saying, hey, these is a bunch of kids, what do we need with them? Anything like that ever happen? Or have they been more receptive?
No, basically they're all really receptive to us. They realize that we're trained just the same we haven't run into any problems yet.
Any particular occasions when you sort of wish, gee, how did I get involved in this? I don't want this anymore. I mean, that must happen sometimes, too.
Yeah.
You know, a cold winter night or something.
Yeah. Late at night, early in the morning.
When it's freezing out and snowing out, you have to run out there and save that life. But at that point, though, you don't care what you got on. You're out there saving the life.
Okay. How do other students respond, knowing, are they even aware that you're involved in something like this?
Yeah, I think basically all the students at Scarborough High know, because it's happens so often that we're leaving the school and they see us running by and going to the station, and I think they're aware of it and they accept it.
Okay, good. I think we've got another call. It's, good evening, you're on the line.
Yes, I was wondering if anyone there has forgotten what they were supposed to do when they got nervous.
Ever happen? You forget something vital?
Yes.
Come on, admit it.
I think, like I said before when we were talking before the show, it's you get to the scene and it becomes sort of just second nature. You see the person that's there, they need your help, and you just have to react. You can't just stand around.
It just comes to you naturally.
A lot of repetition, a lot of drilling, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How many hours a week did you say you put into it? When you're training, you have to...
Probably between 20 and 30 hours of training the juniors.
Amazing. All right, thanks for your call. Bye-bye. Is this something you would like to pursue in the future, either as a vocation or something to do voluntary? Probably something you'd stay with?
Yes.
On a voluntary basis?
Yeah, something really helpful later in life. You're going to enjoy, you're going to like having it right there. You don't know where you're going to be, where an accident's going to come up, and you can just apply it there.
All right, good. We've got one more call we can get to here, and good evening, you're on the line.
Hi, I have a couple questions.
Okay.
I'd like to know if they've ever had any resistance from the public. I worked in a hospital, and many times, this before I started a family, and they felt that I was so young that they'd rather have an older nurse. They felt more comfortable. Also, I wanted to know if these are, college-bound kids, if they would be pre-med.
Okay, I think, Dawn, you said you had an interest in pre-med. Any of the rest of you? Okay, and what about resistance from people you're working on? We talked about resistance, which doesn't seem to be there from the fire department or the rescue teams. What about from the people?
I think in most situations it's a crisis, and anybody coming along willing to help, the people are very receptive to. And I haven't run into any problems yet, and I'm not aware of any of the problems that the other students have run into.
All right, thank you very much, America's Future Award winners, Scarborough Student Rescue. It's great things you're doing out there. We'll be back with more of News Center's On the Line right after this.